Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lisa Grills. I am the Membership Development Coordinator for the Belleville Chamber of Commerce. It is with much sadness that Jill is not here today. Jill's mom unexpectedly passed away on Tuesday morning, so she will not be in the cabin this week. So I will, her leadership is greatly missed this week, and we are sending her our sincere condolences. But in the meantime, I will try to moderate the conversation. I'd like at this time to introduce Jamie Hosking. Jamie is the e-commerce advisor for the City of Belleville, and he has been gracious enough to include us in this series about digital marketing and the online kind of landscape and where that's going for businesses, particularly in our local environment. So thank you, Jamie. This is the fourth in a series, and it will be included in our YouTube channel and will be shared later. So thank you all for joining us. So Jamie, I will turn this over to you on the session today, which is about online word of mouth, how it works and how you deal with it. So Jamie, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, today this week, we are talking about attracting and keeping customers and how word of mouth works online. It works actually really well, and we'll get into it. So with digital marketing and attracting and keeping customers, you have a very unique opportunity that you didn't have before, where you, if you do things right and follow up properly, can interact with each and every customer that you have. You can ensure customer satisfaction, solve any problems that might arise, and boost the opportunity for customer loyalty. So how do we do that? Typically, if you were advertising in traditional media, whether it be print, display, or broadcast, you'd be relying on the expertise of the people that you're working with at each one of these outlets to create advertising for you and help you with all of that, ad copy, what it looks like, or in the case of broadcast, what it sounds like, it's radio, you know what I mean? And so you've got some professionals there that can help you along with that, but of course, that's all rolled into the cost. These types of advertising can be expensive, and you're hoping that they reach as many people as possible. With a digital platform and with online marketing and word of mouth, you have a unique opportunity. You can be collecting email addresses through an email marketing plan. And I would also encourage you to look into email marketing rules and regulations. There are strict rules and regulations on that, and there are readily available information about that online. But I would collect emails from your email addresses from all of your customers, so that you can follow up to see how they're enjoying their purchase or the service that you've provided them, whatever your business might be, address any issues that might happen, and so on. Another way you can follow up with your customers, of course, is through any of the online platforms you're using to market your business. Of course, we're talking about Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and so on. And of course, Google as well, where people are posting questions and reviews about your business. You have a great opportunity, we did touch on this in previous sessions, to address each and every comment. And I would highly, highly encourage you to do that. That's where the work comes in, where you can be spending an hour or two each and every day, depending on the volume of messaging and interaction you're getting. But this is precious. This is interaction that you're getting from your customers or from people who want to be your customers with questions, comments, and that sort of thing. And it is really a great opportunity to follow up with these people and make sure that you're satisfying existing customers and you're attracting new ones through the responses that you give, the expertise you provide, and the value that you're providing in those interactions. So let's talk about customer reviews. You're going to see customer reviews for your business on a variety of different platforms. So it's important that you have good Google search skills. You're searching for your business on a regular basis. You're looking to see what people are posting about. And they could be posting in a variety of different platforms. Of course, they could be posting a review right on Google, right in the listing section of your business. They could be good reviews, they could be mixed reviews, they could be bad reviews, and you have no control over that, of course. And the difference here, of course, is that if somebody came to your business or called you on the phone and had a complaint or a concern, it's private. It's in a private loop for the most part, unless they're kicking up a huge fuss. But when it comes to online, all of this, at least at the beginning, is public. So it's important to regularly check these things and to be on top of them when you see people posting. So with Google, you can see what people's reviews are and you can respond. Same with Facebook. If you have a Facebook page, and you should for your business, you can see what people are posting on Facebook and on Twitter and on the different channels that you've established for your business. I would highly encourage you to thank each and every person who's posted about your business, no matter what they've said. And then if they've raised a concern, if they have a complaint, I would highly recommend that you encourage and drive that into a private loop. So, thank them for addressing the concern, apologize that they've had a less than ideal experience, ask them to send you a direct message if you don't have their information already. If you do, make a point of saying, I'm going to message you directly, I'm going to contact you directly, and I want to do everything I can to resolve that issue. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of opportunities sometimes to remove unfair or negative reviews. And a negative review on your page isn't necessarily a bad thing if you address it properly and customers can see that you've addressed it properly. This goes for Facebook as well. There are editing features on many of these platforms. Facebook in particular, you can remove whatever you like from your Facebook page. I don't suggest you do it very often, but you know what? People are people, and sometimes they do make mistakes, and sometimes you may get unjust reviews, comments, and things of that nature posted on the various platforms that are available. And you have no way of filtering or editing that before they come up. So your Facebook page, let's keep this in mind. This isn't, doesn't have anything to do with freedom of the press and your right to express yourself. We all still have that. Facebook is a private platform. We're not paying for it, but we are. We're paying for it with our attention. So there is there's no rules and there is no qualms against editing and pruning what is on your Facebook page to ensure that it is showing you and your business in the best possible light. That said, the more you can address these customer concerns, and of course the compliments too. You want to thank them for this priceless word of mouth, uninspired, or not uninspired, but uninitiated first person positive reaction to your business.
I have a question, Jamie.
Yeah.
Can you petition Google to have a review removed if do you have the opportunity to perhaps prove that it was an unjust review and have that removed?
I believe there are editing features in there as well, but if there is not, yes, you can go through the reporting process to report a problem. That is the type of thing where it may take some time if it works at all. Google is a monolithic, monstrous company, worldwide company with thousands and thousands of employees, and they may have staff dedicated to this sort of thing, or there may be a huge turnaround or something like this. I've been actually quite impressed when I have gotten feedback from an actual Google employee. As an example, last week I was invited to be part of Google's Applied Skills Instruction Division, which is a nice honor. This is part of my role here at CLA, Community Learning Alternatives, where I'm a digital literacy and adult literacy and basic skills instructor. And they've been kind enough to let me do these seminars each Wednesday. But again, I was shocked to actually get a real email from an actual Google employee in California. Most of the time, you can't contact Google. I kind of chuckle when I hear people going, I tried to send an email to Google, or I tried to call them up and I couldn't find their number. You're never going to find a phone number for Google to address some concern that one of their literally millions and hundreds of millions of users have. That said, the other platforms, you have more control over that. This is your page representing your company for everyone to see. And you can prune it in a way that, of course, shows your company in as good a light as you want it to be. But I would discourage you from deleting, all negative interactions or all posts that aren't glowing positive reviews. Some people just might have questions, and you want to thank them for that question and answer that publicly. Maybe if they have that question, you want to bet many other customers have a question about your product as well. But a lot of people take it publicly and won't contact you directly. They'll post it in a public forum that everyone can see, sometimes unfairly. I saw it yesterday on Facebook, where a product that I used for video editing, somebody had created what apparently looked like a fake Facebook profile in order to go on their Facebook page and just grumble and complain about all the things that we didn't know how to do with their product. And it was readily apparent that they didn't actually read the material and the documentation in order to learn how to use this product. And so it made them look actually quite unprofessional, because they're griping and complaining rather than contacting them directly. They're trying to get a reaction. They're trying to get something out of the company that's providing the product. But most companies worth their salt, and hopefully your company too, is going to get back to customers in a prompt manner to address any concerns they might have. Now let's talk about if anybody has any questions about this, we can open up the floor real quick and see if I can answer any of the questions that folks might have about that sort of interaction. It's important to have. It's a great opportunity to follow up with customers and build a relationship, build a community around your business and around your brand. Everything like that starts in a very small way.
So if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself, start your video, or you can type it in the chat as well. And I'll try to keep track of anything that is typed in the chat. And we'll open up the floor again. So Jamie, if you want to continue on, then I think we're probably good.
Absolutely, sure.
Thanks.
Now, of course, we're talking about existing customers. We're talking about people that have already either interacted with your business, bought something from your company, and so on. But how do you attract new customers? How do you do that on an online platform on the internet? You can do that for much, much less than you would with traditional advertising and marketing platforms, and sometimes for $0. The trade-off there is that it's work. It's going to be work. When you are doing it through, say, a radio station or a newspaper, they have professionals there to help you with ad copy, with radio 30-second spots and production and all of the things. That's all rolled into the price of what you're doing. With online marketing and the types of things that I would encourage you to do, I would try and put your trepidation and concern about doing these types of creative things yourself to the side for a moment. There's a saying that I like, document, don't create. So if you're concerned that your little graphics that you've made for an Instagram post, or the article that you've written for LinkedIn, or the Facebook post that you created isn't exactly perfect, and you're hesitating to pull the trigger and post it, just put it out there. Just document your story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be genuine, so that people don't realize that you're manufacturing something that you're not, and you're creating an image for something that you might not actually fit. But I would just put it out there. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about a couple of different things. You can write something. So you can write a little an advertisement, an article, a story, a how-to, a recommendation, your opinion on something in your industry. This helps establish you as a reliable and credible source, as an expert in the field, and it also gives value to whoever's reading it. let's say you're not a good writer. You're going, Jamie, I'm not a writer. I was never good at school at writing. That's not my bag. You might want to demonstrate something. You might want to have a coworker or somebody that you know that's working with you pull out their phone and shoot a quick video about you talking about a how-to, some expertise you have in your field. You can shill a little bit, something new and exciting that you've got in your store or in your business. I would hesitate doing that right away. I would provide value first, sprinkle in those little sales and marketing propositions throughout. So it doesn't seem like you're immediately going for the pitch right away before you start asking for a sale. If you're more of a photographer and you wanted to show your product in the best light, or you like to create a post that has a couple of different photos that show how to do something in particular, that's another way to go. Instagram is built for photos. Twitter and Facebook are also great for photos that way. I would try out all of these things. I would try writing. I would try photography. I would try shooting videos. If you've got the wherewithal, try a podcast. I would dip your toes in all of these and see which one feels right to you. There might be one, there might be two, it might be all of these. But if you might say, hey, you know what? I'm not good on camera. I don't want to be on camera. I'd rather not. You can demonstrate things off camera without being in the video, by the way, but you might be more inclined to write a post for LinkedIn or shoot some photos. Try all these different things. What you want to do is you want to tell a story. That story could be about your business. That story could be how to maintain something, how to fix something, how to do something in particular, the top 5 reasons that you like this, the top 3 reasons you shouldn't be doing that. You've seen these list articles all over the internet, I'm sure. Now you can be one of those people to write one of these articles and put it out there. The bottom line is provide value. And by providing that value on any place that your customers may be looking for you, whether that be Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, or one of these other channels, these are great ways to reach existing and potential customers for free or very, very little cost. We've all got these little mini TV studios. I'm pointing to my phone, by the way. I'm using my phone for this. I'm not using my computer for this, by the way. I'm using my phone. It's that easy. I bought a $30 tripod. I popped my phone in it, and I am now making this video with Lisa and the folks at the Chamber with very little cost, very little expertise. Products like Zoom or the built-in camera app in your phone can allow you to shoot a quick video. You can literally upload it right from your phone. You don't need a lot of equipment or expertise. There's very little investment because we've all got these amazingly powerful devices. Most of us do anyway. If you've got a cell phone, you are set up to record a podcast if you want to and put it out there, or any kind of audio recording. You've got probably an amazing camera that you could take some great shots of what's going on in your business. Take profiles of the people that work with you. Same with the video camera that's built right in. Creating content, telling your story, again, providing value as a source of information, of expertise, and knowledge that help your customers. They're gonna show their gratitude by becoming regular business customers of yours.
So that sounds like a lot of work. So I know you mentioned a lot of work.
It's a lot of hustle. It is.
It is a lot of hustle. So if you are a small business, like many of our members are, how do you determine what the best case scenario is? Like, would you say, like you said, dip your toes in all of them, like once a week in all of them? Is that enough to determine what's working for you? I know you've touched on this before in some of our earlier episodes, but maybe we could just revisit that a little bit. What is sort of a good benchmark?
My knee-jerk reaction is to say as much as you can, especially the way that the algorithms on some of the more popular platforms work. As an example, Facebook right now, if you have a traditional Facebook page, like we do here at CLA, when I create a post for CLA and put it online, if the people who follow our page are on Facebook in and around that time, they'll see that post. They might not see it this afternoon though. It might have been long gone, replaced by other things in their news feed. And now if I'm creating that as a Facebook ad, that's different. They may see that ad multiple times. So, but if I want to rely on the free part, if I want to take advantage of the free page, I might want to post 2 or 3 times a day if I can. I'd also want to look at what platforms are getting the most feedback too. If I'm not getting as much feedback from Facebook and I'm getting more from Instagram and Twitter, then I might want to invest more time in those and less in the others. Because then I can recognize that, oh, my customers aren't using TikTok as much. My customers are on Instagram a lot more often, or they're on Pinterest or whatever platform that you've discovered you're getting the most feedback from. Then that's an indicator that, okay, well, this is where my customers are spending their time.
Right. So you can measure that engagement. I know on most of the platforms, and be able to determine that. And I'm also, I think you don't want to post things like one right after the other. You want to kind of spread it out.
Yes, exactly right. Because they're going to post one right after the other if you do it that way. The great thing about Facebook is for free, they include great page management features in the back end. You can schedule posts. I do it here all the time. We schedule our Thanksgiving and Christmas posts to let people know that we're going to be closed certain days. We do that way in advance, and then they're triggered, at 9 a.m. on the day that they're supposed to be posting. So that's great. We know that those kind of mandatory have to kind of posts are already ready and ready to go. And that's the planning part that you can work on so that you can have all of that ready to go. If you're doing a series of something, if you're a gardening shop and you're running a series and they come out every Monday, you can pre-plan those and have them post at particular days and times each time.
And I think last week we touched a little bit too on figuring out who your customer is and what platform is going to work better for you.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing you can use these platforms for, is polling your customers, asking them these questions and getting their feedback. What are the types of things that you'd like to see us do? What are the products that you like the most? What problems can we solve? It's amazing. You literally have, hopefully, as you're building your community, you've got that audience that you can ask them direct questions and get direct feedback, which is great. It's better in a lot of ways than the survey that you might have to fill out when you're in a store. You've got people walking around the mall. Hey, do you have a few minutes to answer some questions? A lot of people don't really want to do that for time or whatever reasons. But online's a different story. For whatever reason, you've got some time, you're sitting on your sofa, you've got TV in the background, and you see a question from a business that you really enjoy, and you'd love to give them some feedback, and they're literally asking you, hey, what can we do better to help you better? That's a great opportunity for as a customer to give them feedback, but then as a business, you're getting, they're telling you directly what they want. It's priceless, really. So creating that online content, you're right, it can take a lot of time. It can take a lot of effort. If it's something that you're not comfortable with, at least right away, you can certainly recruit people within your business or somebody that you might know, or an outside vendor, an outside company that you can commission to help with this stuff. There's a lot to it. And you can learn how to do it all for little to no cost, but let's get realistic. We're talking about a little bit of graphic design, maybe a little bit of photo editing, maybe a little bit of video editing if you want to dip your toes in that. And these things aren't difficult, but you may have to learn them. We're talking about some writing. We are talking about some probably analytics and search engine optimization for your website. So this might be an opportunity then to maybe farm this out to somebody who knows what they're doing in that regard and can help you with that. I would think that it is an equally good investment to maybe bring on somebody that can help you with this, as it would be to pay for traditional advertising. And so, that's essentially what you're doing. When you're paying for traditional advertising, you're also employing the advertising and marketing staff of that company, whether it be a newspaper or a broadcaster or a display marketer, to help you with the creative and the content. So those companies that are out there that can help you with online marketing and advertising will also be able to help you in this regard as well. But in this case, you're reaching more people, you're reaching qualified potential customers that are showing an interest in your product or service, as opposed to just a scattershot display billboard on a corner somewhere. You're hoping somebody paused at or stopped at a red light is looking at your ad. Instead, you're dealing with customers that have shown an interest, hopefully, or shown that they're already a customer and you want to keep them, you want to retain them as such.
Although we do have Kevin Clark here, and I'm looking at him, who is on part of Starboard Communications team, two of the local radio stations here. I don't know, Kevin, if you want to chime in there at all in this discussion. I think we could probably talk about the combination of traditional and I guess would be considered non-traditional media is always a good strategy as well.
Yeah, media mix is probably one of the most important things that you can do in terms of your spend, right? The goal of this whole campaign for any business is I need as many eyeballs on what I do as possible. Who I am, where I am, and what I do is the message you need to communicate. So you've got to find the most effective channels for you to do that. Like to Jamie's point earlier, you've got to pick the right social media channel to appeal to your audience. Not all of them are going to reach the same demographic that you want to reach, right? I'm older than I want to admit. So Facebook has been my life because it was part of my life from the beginning. But if you look at my 20-year-old stepdaughter, couldn't care about the platform at all. Doesn't look at it, doesn't use it, isn't really on it, doesn't pay any attention to it, right? For her, it's Snapchat and TikTok currently. So measure your audience, figure out what your demographics are. But Jamie, I wanted to ask, a lot of my clients, their biggest problem with managing most of this stuff by themselves, and they want to take that on at least at the beginning to sort of dip their toes into it before they try and find the right person they can trust with this, is what sort of programs are available to them. And I'm thinking more in the lines of graphic design. That seems to be the one that most people are going to struggle with the most. They can talk about their business, right. They can film something, they can put a picture together, but trying to, how do I put my logo on this? How do I frame it for the right size for this social media? How do I build out a graphic without hiring somebody to do it, right? Because we've got to be careful about trusting whoever it is. And I mean, I'm off topic a little bit, but the phrase that I hear the most, and I'm sure you get this all the time, is I have a guy, who's doing this for you? I have a guy. Who's the guy? It's Absolutely. My nephew's kid, right? And that's great that you have somebody that wants to help you, but at the same time, you've literally given them the keys to your entire reputation, right?
Right.
It takes a lifetime to build a business. It takes a moment to destroy it. So you have to really be aware of who it is that you've given the keys to your social media platforms to, because they can affect immense damage quickly. Not to be scary or terrifying, but it's an awareness that you need to have, right? If they decide that they want to post something that isn't your view or your business, there's nothing you can do about that. And if you've given them the keys, then there's an option for them to lock you out. So just always do your due diligence about who the guy or girl is that you've given that control to. But back to wanting to do them themselves, like how do you have any tips or recommendations for programs that would help with graphic design or would help with scheduling software for posts, would help sort of put it all into one piece? I'm sure there's got to be some options out there.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah, and thanks for the question. And also too, let me make clear, as we're talking about this, because this is the subject, this is not me discounting or knocking traditional advertising and marketing, because Kevin is our rep with Starboard Communications here at CLA. Hi, Kevin. How you doing? So, and this is something that we know is a great platform for us, because that's where our potential learners are, our potential students are here at CLA. We know that they listen to the radio. We know that that's where our potential audience is. So we have no problem with investing that money in advertising and marketing with a broadcast company like Starboard, because they not only have radio, but they have done an incredibly great job with their website and their online platform. This is something that a lot of the different companies are transitioning to, and they're recognizing that there's value there, and they're shifting their brand so that they're encompassing all these platforms. But to your question, the tools, absolutely. there are great free to use or very small fee to use platforms, and there's two that spring to mind. There's one called Adobe Spark. Everyone's heard of Adobe. You've heard of Photoshop, Illustrator, and all that stuff. But they have
One of my favorites.
easier to use tools than that. Right? You're chuckling. You know, you're familiar with Adobe
It's
Spark?
one of my favorites, actually.
It is. It's great. Isn't
When
it? Yeah.
I used to do it when I was working for Quinny and our Small Business Week, because we don't have a website that is specific for Quinny Small Business Week. We've done it on Spark. So yeah, it's a great program.
So they have three different individual kind of things you can do with Adobe Spark. You can create posts. So we're talking graphics. You can create actual pages, and what they're talking about is website pages. I've never actually used that function because what it's doing is it's creating a file that you would then upload to your web host, and that would be your web page. And it's I didn't dip my toes in that because I'm also a web designer by trade, so I didn't need to. But the other part is video. Adobe Spark Video is an easy way to create quick and professional looking. This is the emphasis here. Adobe, because it's a professional platform, it's hard to go wrong. They've got amazing templates as well. So pre-designed templates you can use for posts and for video and for pages as well, where you can go in and then just customize the colors, maybe change the typeface if you don't like it. They have available images you can use as well. And so that's a platform that can be certainly free to use, but there is also an upgraded version that allows you to remove the watermark and have an access to a lot of different stock photos and that sort of thing. Very easy to use. There are many tutorials on how to use Adobe Spark online, both written and video. There are also classes on how to use Adobe Spark, at least 2 full courses on LinkedIn Learning, which I do highly recommend. These are experts that, there's one in particular on Adobe Spark that shows a business example and takes the business step by step, how they've used Adobe Spark to create a whole campaign pretty much for free online. The other platform that I would recommend, and I use quite a bit, I might use this a little bit more than Spark only because I discovered it before Spark, is Canva, canva.com, C-A-N-V-A. Again, lots of free templates that you can choose from, already pre-designed. So you just change the text, maybe change some of the colors. It's really drag and drop, really easy and intuitive to use, downloaded in different formats. They're dipping their toes proverbially in the water for video as well. Mm-hmm. With Canva, you've got a lot more different formats. You've got Facebook posts, you've got Instagram posts, different sizes. You've got traditional letter size, posters, all kinds of different platforms to create your content. And
you can create custom, like a custom size on Canva as well. We use Canva here at the chamber all the time. Yeah, it's a great program as well.
I've used Canva for almost everything that we've done here at CLA, from pull-up banners to lettering on the front of our windows to printed pieces. Canva's been my go-to, simply because I'm not as well versed in the higher end Adobe products. I'm a generalist. I know, I have general skill and knowledge in a lot of different platforms, but you ask me to, make you look better in Photoshop, I'm not your guy. There are specialists for that sort of thing. I have never really tried any of the higher level platforms, Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere. I'm about the user-friendly stuff. I'm about the quick and, get me in there, let me create something that looks good and get out. I don't have time to waste. But yeah, those are the 2 graphic design platforms I would recommend, Adobe Spark and Canva. As far as video editing platforms, there are free and easy to use video editing platforms already out there. If you have a Mac, you've already got one called iMovie. Highly recommend iMovie, even for people with intermediate editing skills for video. I use one called WeVideo that is cloud-based, which is very interesting. So I can edit video on my phone, on a Chromebook, on a tablet, because it's doing all the heavy lifting in the cloud and not on my computer. And of course, your phone is going to have built-in features. If you've created a YouTube account, there's some basic video editing in there. Your phone is already going to have some photo editing features to beautify or add a filter to a lot of the photos you're using. And the platform you're using as well, in particular Instagram, I'm thinking of right away, has some built-in features and filters that you can use. You can add text and that sort of thing. Let me think of other platforms that I would recommend for that sort of creative. I'm just trying to. Those are my top two, to be honest. You can do just about anything with those two platforms. Anything beyond that, you would want to go to a professional, I think.
What is your go-to for scheduling?
Hootsuite is the one that I enjoy the most.
Okay.
There are a couple out there. These are going to be paid for the most part, but they might be worth it. In fact, I think they are worth it. And what Kevin's talking about is these are websites typically, or website as a service, basically. A lot of these websites actually act like apps or programs that you've downloaded for your computer, but they run, in their website, and Hootsuite is certainly one of them. But this allows you to plan, upload, and make creative advertising and marketing for a variety of different platforms all at once. And so you can connect your Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all of your social channels in one spot, and then it will distribute all of the content that you create for you using that platform. So Hootsuite is certainly one of them. The only caveat I have when it comes to pre-planning too much is, again, the idea that perhaps you might post something that is unintentionally offensive or inappropriate that reflects on, say, a current event that's happened that day. So, if you're having a big sale and there's been God forbid, a terrorist attack somewhere, and you got have a blast at our huge, explosive sale, that might not be in good taste because you didn't know that was going to happen that day. Or, it's very rare that this happens, but as much as you can pre-plan and schedule all this, you're going to want to review it and keep an eye on it to make sure that the marketing content that's rolling out for your different channels is still going to be appropriate and it still fits what's happening in the world that you're living in at that moment.
Have you ever used Airtable?
Not heard of that one. Airtable. I'm going to make a note right now. I love getting recommendations, so I'm jotting that one down right now. Airtable.
Yeah, so Anna here in the cabin introduced it to us, and it's not a scheduler per se. It doesn't schedule the post, but it is a great way of scheduling your content and keeping it in a way that you can organize it so you know what's coming up and you don't you're not always working on the seat of your pants. So that's something that
it looks very intuitive, and what I noticed from Airtable right away is that it looks like it's scalable. And what I mean by that is you can start simply and get more complicated and more advanced as you learn and as you grow. It looks like there's some templates here as well. I'm a big fan of templates. These are, for the most part, I'd like to think, professionally designed examples of the types of things that you want to do or can do, and then you're customizing it for your own brand. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I would recommend, if it's not intuitive right away, is maintain the color and look and feel of your company and your business. So if you've established a logo, if you've established a typeface for your business, and that's how you're displaying it on, letterhead and on your front door and that sort of thing, continue to use those colors and make that part of your brand. So as you're creating visuals and headers and that sort of thing with graphic design tools, make sure you're using the exact colors that you're using. It could be 1, 2, or even 3 colors for all of your designs. Of course, there can be exceptions when it comes to different holidays and different events and that sort of thing. For Christmas, you might want to be using more red and green and so on. But for the most part, stick to your colors, give all of your material a consistent look and feel so that when people see it, they know it's you. when you look at a Coke ad, you know it's a Coke ad. What drives me nuts is when I'm watching an ad, especially on television, and I don't know what it's for. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And then at the end, they say, oh, I would never have guessed that's for Samsung. You know, that was all emotional. And you're trying to equate this, you know, emotional 30-second scene I've seen with Samsung, and I'm not biting. So, you know,
I know
there's
part of
gotta
the
be something.
training we did when I worked in newspapers is, you know, you've got so many seconds, and we would hold up an ad for that 3 seconds and then take it away and ask, what was it for? And if you don't know, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to get creative, but I think sometimes the message is lost in the creativity once in a while.
And it is
I think
important
that's
to be
something we have
creative.
to be careful.
Yeah, it is important
Yeah.
to be creative. People are, you know, have a knee-jerk reaction to tune out advertising. You know, the mute button, the skip button, they're the best things ever. Skip intro, mute, you know, I don't want to be marketed to at this time. You know, DVRs and PVRs have been the best, you know, and worst inventions ever for that sort of thing. However, you know what the caveat to that is? What's the second thing that people look for at the Super Bowl besides the actual game? It's the advertising.
Yeah, the ads.
And why do people want to look at those advertisements versus any other advertisement that's on TV throughout the year? It's because they know that they're going to be creative, they're going to be good, it's going to be a topic of conversation, there's going to be some celebrity they want to see, it's going to be something, you know, that, you know, there's no reason that any of this can't be entertaining and fun and informative every other day of the year besides Super Bowl Sunday. So your job is to make it so that it's not just an advertisement. Your job is to make it so that it is engaging and fun, if that's, you know, if that fits what you're doing, and informative and worth a potential customer's time and attention. To speak to what Kevin was saying, and I've said this time and time again, I don't care what platform it is. I don't care what you're using. I just want to know where my customers and potential customers are spending their time. What's got their attention? What are they looking at? What are they reading? What are they watching? Because that's where I want to put my message. I'm not going to advertise on a platform, or at least I don't want to, where I know that, you know, people are leaving and they're not paying attention to you anymore. So I want to ask my already established customers, hey, you know what, what's your social media platform of choice? Hey, what do you like to do in your spare time? Ask who they are, find out who they are. You're creating, of course, a customer persona at the beginning of this process. That doesn't mean you can't fine tune it with new and useful information you're getting from your existing customers. One other thing that I wanted to touch, sorry.
Sorry, can I chime in on just one thing?
Yeah, please.
So you were talking about the branding and your color palettes and making use of consistency in that, and absolutely it's 100% true. There are some online tools that you can use. If you have graphics that you've had forever, there's some online tools you can use that will identify the RGB color codes for those, and then Canva is actually a platform that will allow you to do that. You can you know, go online and say, what color is this? It'll give you a code, and then you can plug it into Canva and it will pull that exact color up. But further to that, if you have hired somebody or if you have worked with a company that has created content for you, specifically in terms of your logos, please make sure that you have control over it, access to it, and historical information on it. One of the biggest problems I find when selling digital is I say, you know, we need a high res version of this, this, and this, and, you know, they don't have it. And it's not necessarily because they've done anything wrong. It's just they never occurred to them that they would need ownership. They've relied on somebody else to do that. But anytime you have content created for you in any way, shape, or form, be it a blog or a video, a logo specifically, always make sure that you have that available to you, whether you're using some sort of online storage like Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive or any of the other platforms available. Have that available to you in a format that's easy to send to some of the people that you're going to work with over time, because that image is going to be the first impression people have. And there's absolutely nothing more dismaying than seeing an advertisement or a marketing tool that's been created and it looks beautiful and crisp and clean, and then your logo is blurred and off-centered and not matching the rest of the ad. Because it's sadly, we judge by looks, and the first thing we're going to judge is that there must be something wrong, because clearly that logo is wrong. So just if you
Yeah.
have that information, or if you have that stuff, make sure that you have control over it, and that part of your agreement with them is that what they've created becomes yours. Because that'll
Yeah.
be an argument you can have with some creators on terms of whose final ownership over that product is it, and you want it to be yours, because ideally it's
absolutely.
your
Yeah.
identity, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
I just wanted to
Yeah,
touch
no,
base
that's
on
an
that.
excellent point. Thank you, Kevin.
You are 100% correct, Kevin. And I have heard more stories than I would like to have heard about, and this is across all kinds of digital platforms, where unfortunately businesses have either lost touch or have severed relationships with people that have created websites for them, created e-commerce platforms, created creative products for them, logos, designs, ads, images, all these things, and then no longer have access to them, or don't have the password to the web host or the back end of their website. And then they have no way of accessing it. It's very, very, very difficult, if not impossible. So yes, as a sidebar and advice to anybody out there who's commissioning people to help them, whether it be a relative, you've hired a freelancer or a company, make sure that as you're getting the output, whether it be designs or a website or anything in between, make sure that you're getting logins and passwords, and that you're recording them someplace that's safe and retrievable. And one thing that I would encourage you to do, we've done it here at CLA, is create a style guide and media kit. And it sounds fancy, but all it is a folder that contains you can make copies of these files of your logo in a variety of different formats, and then maybe a document that's a page or two that has the exact RGB or hex codes for your logo colors, and has the typefaces that you want people to use if they're representing your brand. You can Google this, by the way. You can go into a search engine and search for Facebook style guide, Twitter style guide. Any major company style guide often will publish their media kit and style guide for you to see. And you can see what major brands do and the rules that they put in place for people to use their trademarked images and graphics and logos. You see Facebook's, for an example, they say, use this, do not use that, do not alter this, but go ahead and use this. This is the color, this is how we want to be represented, but go ahead and do it. And here is Facebook's logo, and here's Facebook's, typeface, and they're generous with that, but they've laid out the groundwork of what they want to see and what they don't want to see, and how they want their brand represented. And if you create a simple folder, you can put it on your desktop, put it wherever you want, throw it in your Google Drive or your Dropbox, and then that's available to anybody that needs it, and you can quickly send that off, and they've got all the materials and all the elements they need to work on your brand. There was one other subject to quickly touch on before we wrapped up, and that was influencer marketing. And this is a tough one for me, because there's too many influencers as far as I'm concerned. If you don't know what an influencer is, an influencer is somebody who's established themselves on a social media platform. Typically, it's been on Instagram or YouTube, but sometimes on Facebook and Twitter as well, where they've established themselves as somebody who is in a particular industry or following a particular field. They could be a travel vlogger. They could be somebody who specializes in customized cars and trucks. They could be a custom painter, any number of things. And then now they're offering themselves to brands in order to promote their product or service. So a travel vlogger might approach Hilton and say, hey, you know what? Give me a free stay in your resort in Bora Bora, and I'll make 10 posts for you on my Instagram channel. And I have 5 million followers, and all my followers are going to see where I am and all the videos I'm going to create. And all you need to do is put me up for a 4-day weekend. That might be great if you are a brand that can afford that and feel that the reach that you're going to gain from their audience is worthwhile. But in many, many cases, I don't believe that it is. If you're going for a worldwide audience and a worldwide marketplace, and you want the reach of somebody who has that, then yeah, maybe an Instagram influencer might be a good investment. Right now, the return on investment for something like that probably isn't very too high. But it better be somebody that's established and that you're familiar with. If you have a local business and you're relying on local traffic and local customers, unless your influencer is local, you're kind of wasting the money, because then you're gaining all kinds of maybe worldwide traction. If you want the worldwide business, that's another thing. And of course, e-commerce will allow you to sell worldwide. But you can be an e-commerce platform and just focus on Canada, or just focus on Ontario. If you don't want to deal with customs and duty and international shipping, the way to go would be to keep within Canada, especially now. As a side anecdote, I've been a member of a monthly service in the United States. I won't say what it is, but my July shipment hasn't arrived yet. It's stuck in a U.S. Postal Service warehouse in Milwaukee, and I can see it from the tracking number since August 3rd. Thank you, Postmaster General in the U.S. So I have an issue with that. It's not their fault, but I have had to unsubscribe because I'm no longer getting product from them because of postal and customs issues and things that are going on south of the border, which hopefully will be cleared up by the end of the year. But that said, start in a way that you're comfortable with, and an influencer marketing angle might be something that you might want to go with if you go international, or if you go national and you've got a local or even a Canadian-based influencer that might be great for your brand. You can spin that in a different way, or even better, become an influencer yourself. All the things that we're talking about here today is to put yourself in a place where you are an established expert and knowledgeable source and trusted resource for the people that are paying attention to you on these platforms and online, and your existing customers as well. A lot of people who have put out information, tutorials, how-tos, useful content for me, I've become customers of theirs. I've pulled the trigger. I've bought things from people in the UK and in the US that I wouldn't have done before, but because watching their content, reading their articles, it's easy to see they know what they're talking about when they're providing value for money. And I want to buy into that because they've established themselves that they're not somebody who's pretending to know what they're doing, or they're fly-by-night, or any of the things that would dissuade somebody from pulling the trigger and making a purchase or buying into your service. Establishing that trust and that value proposition is important for this sort of thing.
Excellent.
So I think that was everything that we wanted to cover for today. These are all subjects that intertwine with each other. We've touched on some of these in previous sessions, and I guarantee you that we'll continue to talk about these in future sessions. These are things that you should regularly be thinking about. If you have any questions about any of the things that we've been talking about, you can feel free to email me. There's a contact form at businessecommerceassistance.ca, or you can email me at info@businessecommerceassistance.ca, and I'll be happy to get back to you. You can also search for many of these subjects online. You're going to find some sales propositions on there. A great way to judge whether a source is worthwhile is take a look at what they're doing. Are they selling you anything? Is it, a web page that's like 30 miles long, and then at the end there's a sales prop at the bottom and it's just filled with hyperbole and copy? That's definitely a sales funnel. But there are sources of information out there that are not looking to take your money, or if they are, it's on occasion. If you're familiar with an author and entrepreneur named Gary Vaynerchuk, he is somebody who is very divisive and polarizing, but he is undoubtedly an expert. And one of the things that I admire about him is that he provides so much content and expertise and advice and feedback, and takes direct calls from people who ask him, and daily there's content he's produced all the time. And the guy sells a book like once every 4 years and just says, hey, you know what? I have a book coming out. Buy my book if you want it, kind of thing. And people clamor for the book because of all the value that he provided day after day, month after month, year after year, so that when he finally does come out with a product to sell, whether it be a $30 book, really, that's all he ever sells. I mean, he has some corporate level products. He does have corporations. He does have a social media marketing firm and that sort of thing. But he's providing so much that when he finally has something to sell, people are like, here, take my money. You've done so much for me. The least I can do is buy your piddly little book.
Okay, well, Jamie, thank you. We've just got a couple of minutes left. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. In the meantime, I'm going to let you know what we've got going on. Next week is Quinny's Small Business Week. In partnership with Prince Edward County Chamber of Commerce and Quinny West Chamber of Commerce, we've got a full week of workshops. We've got a session on marketing. I believe it's with Starboard Communications as one of the experts. There's pathways, pivots, and patience. It's a hybrid workshop, and it's the only workshop that you can attend virtually or face-to-face. We've got some HR best practices and recruiting for any of those businesses that have those needs. We've got social media strategies. We also have access with recent changes to what an employer has to provide with regards to safety of their employees and their customers. We once again have conscripted public health, so we'll have access to them, access to MPP Todd Smith, access to MP Neil Ellis. We've got business-to-business strategies through LinkedIn workshop, and my personal favorite is networking. Easier said than done. Almost everyone I talk to as the Chamber of Commerce, one of the questions we ask is, why do you join? And they join to network, but many people don't actually know what that means to them. And when they get somewhere, either virtual or face-to-face, that is a source of stress, significant stress. So here's some tips and tricks on how to kind of work a room, whether it's virtually or face-to-face. So that's what we've got going on next week. And then we'll be back with Jamie the following week on Wednesday, October the 28th, with opening the window of opportunity. And do you want to just give us a brief couple of seconds on what people can expect for that one?
Opening the window of opportunity. Well, we're going to talk about more of a bigger picture with that one. We've been talking a lot of granular stuff here, a lot of kind of runway level stuff, where we're talking about a lead up to really the overall opportunity that we're talking about. We're going to take a 30,000 foot view of social media marketing and e-commerce with our next session, and see how all of these pieces fit together and how they should work to establish your social media marketing presence and your overall e-commerce presence online, so that it's robust and healthy and where you want it to be.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see some of you back here next week with some of our Small Business Week sessions, and of course on October the 28th with Jamie. So thank you very much, Jamie. This session, as I mentioned, is recorded, so it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and you can go to bellevillechamber.ca and Chamber Chat Live, and the link will be there as well. So if nobody else has anything, I would like to thank you very much. Kevin, there is a message to you about what's the best way to connect in the chat. So I won't end it for you, but if you want to go in that chat, Kev, and share your contact information, I'll leave that up to you. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day, and we very much appreciate you joining us today. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Have a great day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.